Welcome everybody. Today we're at Daytona International Speedway to try and answer the question, how can I improve my race performance? How can I get faster?
Well, gentlemen, you had my curiosity.
With that being the case, we were at round 4 of the Widdowmaker GR3 Daytona race course last week. I was racing the Mazda Concept GR3 and I finished in 6th place. The guy that won it was much faster than me. It was in a McLaren GR3. He got the fastest lap and he was the race winner. I'd like to take a look at his fastest lap, look at my fastest lap, see where the differences are, and I'd like to try and understand if I can try and improve that gap. And by improve it I mean close that gap, make it much smaller. There is at least 3 seconds for me to make up in a lap. Now if you consider that all things being equal, I was using a G29, was on traction control 1, he was using Fanatec DD, he was not using traction control. At some points of the race I was using fuel saving, my strategy was different to his. There you go, Fanatec DD and traction control off. And there were lots of other differences in terms of my age, my ability, his age, his ability. All of them things being equal, we just need to see where the differences were. I hope that's got you intrigued.
Gentlemen, you had my curiosity, but now you have my attention.
So the race kicked off. I was 5th place, I believe, off the grid. And I got overrun from the back, running hard tyres. I believe majority of the front of the pack were running hard tyres. And as you can see, the back end of the grid came through. But the fastest guy on the track was able to just take the lead and pretty much hold everybody else off. The car in 2nd place was running softs. And as you can see through here, relatively clean start. It's a good league we run. Everybody's relatively clean. I'd say relatively clean. They race fair, they know how to race hard. They also know how to give room and give evenly so that there's no disadvantage given. We're not going to run hard to run people off the track, to close people out. It is all about winning the race. And as you can see, these guys really put their toe down and made a run for it at the start. And you'll see me casually limping somewhere along the middle. So what we're going to do is we're going to run my lap first. We're going to see how well I did my lap. This is my fastest lap of the race. And then we're going to take a look at, and that's Sam's fastest lap. So as we come down the start finish line, we go over the start finish line around about 167 mile an hour. Braking into turn 1. This is probably the hardest corner on the course. Coming down, closing that apex, you've got to be aware that that block of tyres on the inside corner will actually cause you a crop if you take it too tight. Coming down to this corner, I'm always pretty confident that I'm pretty quick into that corner, but do you notice how close to the middle of the road I was? The car in front is another racer. He's not the fastest car on the track, but it just goes to show whether I'm closing in on him or not. My fastest lap at this point, a 1:48.455. Relatively comfortable with this part of the track. I know how to be quick round here. I know the line. I believe my brake pretty much on the same spot whether I'm on hard or softs. And I also tend to end up on the left hand side of the infield somewhere there. There we go with 0.065 ahead of my fastest time. So we're going to come in a 1:48 still. The fastest lap of the race currently a 1:45.238. And we're going to see Sam set that fastest lap very quickly, very soon after this one. So coming down here we've got to brake into the bus stop. It's a left, right, right and then left. You can cut as much as you like with these apexes pretty much, but you can't cut that last one. If you cut that last one it's a 2-second penalty. And the next key point down the track is the penalty line, which is right in the middle of the fastest part of the circuit. Just a 1-second penalty here can cost you between 6 and 7 seconds relative to the car ahead of you. And as you can see, I've got the draft coming across the line, 164 mile an hour. I'm going to dip to take the inside here, coming down to turn 1, and my fastest lap there, a 1:48.010, so just outside the 47s. Sam's fastest lap at this point is a 1:47.493. He goes across the line at 170 mile an hour, braking from 171. He goes much wider than I did. He actually dips in and clips that apex a lot later than I do. coming through this corner, we're expecting to see where he is. He's much further to the left, and he's got a much later turn in. He accelerates much later into the corner and much earlier on the straight. So with that being the case, he carries a much higher speed. As we progress down here, his line's similar to mine, but then he's over to the left hand side much earlier. He's also braking much later. A very similar line. We're going to run over and put 2 wheels on the yellow curb, yes. Then we're going to come all the way across to the right and brake just on the corner. No, he brakes about a car and a half later than I did, and he's much wider on the outrun there, look. He's 0.053 quicker than his previous lap. Again, coming down here, he's got a much earlier acceleration. His top speed's going to be much higher than mine. As we complete the bus stop, we're then going to go on to review the corners and look at each segment and compare each other. So into that corner, and he's got a much tighter turn into the second apex, and a much tighter line on apex 4 as he comes out the corner. Now we said 167, he's 0.2 up there. We said 167 as I came across the line. Let's see where he is. We're not forgetting I had the draft as well at this point. So he's 165, so I was quicker than he was, even as I had the draft. But there he is, comes across the line for 146. So here they are, come across the start finish line, 167. He was 170 across the start finish line. So it goes to show 3 mile an hour difference to start the lap. At the first braking point for turn 1, I'm at 162, he's at 171 mile an hour and approximately 2 car lengths longer, deeper into the corner. See how much wider he is on the apex there. I'm still trail braking at the tyres, he's on the gas, and he's 2 mile an hour quicker than I am. As we come through this complex, you can see already he's 2 to 3 car lengths ahead. We're braking down to turn 2 at the braking point. I'm in the centre of the track, he's on the left. He's 2 car lengths deeper on his braking point, which leads into the turn-in, where I'm still in the middle of the corner. I've turned in, I've already hit the apex, yet Sam is still in the middle of the track. I'm too fast at this point, 54 mile an hour versus his 52, and he's actually in a better position for the exit. I'm going to have to slow down further to come round the corner. You can see we're both trail braking in. This is the exit. I'm running wide. I've only got half throttle. You see the white box, then the yellow box. You can see Sam's full on the gas. We're at very similar points, yet he's on his way out the corner, full throttle. I've only got half throttle. Again, that could be a bit of traction control, but it would show. Sam's already turned into the corner and through it. He's probably 6 to 8 car lengths ahead at this point, the braking point for turn 4. I'm still centre of the track and I'm slower. He's got a better entry position and through to 3 mile an hour faster than I'm able to be. Again, very similar lines through this corner. If we focus on my car, you'll see that Sam is already almost into the corner as I hit the braking point, for which I'm slower by 3 mile an hour. I'm already braking. Sam's 3 mile an hour faster and not yet on the brakes. You can see that at this point. Then as we go into the next section, for the turn 5 entry, you can see I'm already narrow, I'm half on the brakes, he's much wider and carrying much more speed. Just 1 mile an hour, but it's still significant. On the apex, we're very similar, my position's okay, but as you can tell by the telegraph pole in front, I've not actually turned the car. Sam's actually turning, rotating much faster than I am. As we come out of the exit, you can see his position is much greater. He's much further round the corner, and you can see he's actually got the car rotated further, and he's faster by 5 mile an hour. So we're onto the back straight. If we're benchmarking the time against the car that I'm running, you can see that we're still not really gaining on that car in front. Sam is now 10 to 11 car lengths ahead. He's now going to arrive at the braking point, which is going to be the number 1 marker for him. He brakes on that number 1, and here we are. I hit the braking point. I'm doing 141 before I'm even fully on the brakes. He's at 154 at his braking marker, but still not got the brakes on. So I've had to slow down significantly before as we hit the first bus stop apex. You can see 100 mile an hour versus his 108. and we're pretty much lined up the same. The centre of the car running down the two apexes. On apex 2, I'm wholly on the apex, but Sam's already turned. I'm at 92 mile an hour. He's 98 mile an hour, and you can see just how much he's turned in the next clip. I've darkened his image because you should have been able to see the car go through that apex. And then we're on to apex bus stop number 3, for which I'm turning on apex from apex 2 at 98 mile an hour, whereas Sam's actually at 101 mile an hour. As we come to apex number 4, I've got a relatively decent line at 104 mile an hour. Sam's got a much tighter line at 108. Just means that his overall speed coming into the fastest section of the course is much greater than mine, and the gap is growing significantly. You can see he would potentially be some 15 to 20 car lengths ahead. As we come down through the penalty line, we get to compare them one last time. 164 mile an hour each, but I'm in the draft. Sam's got no draft, but still at 164 mile an hour, and he's still that 10 to 15 car lengths ahead. I take the dive to take the inside line to get to the finish line. I finish with a 148, Sam a 146, just outside the 45s, which at the end of the day shows the difference to the drivers. But the key point of what we've just discussed, we've got the wrong line being taken into corners, later braking points, a lack of confidence probably going into the corners because I don't trust the braking. You've then got the wrong line being taken so that you're tighter, you're not able to run the faster speed through the corner, and then you've got a delayed acceleration because you can't accelerate early. If you put that together across the whole of the circuit, you can see the same mistakes time and time and time again, whereas Sam's been able to conquer those with more confidence and more ability to turn what he's thinking to be fast into the process. So the next stage then is for me to go and put those things we've learnt into practice, go out onto the circuit, run some laps and try and get closer to that time. I want to see if I can run a 146.5 on soft tyres on the same circuit. Let's go. Well, here we are, folks. We're at the track. As promised, we're going to try and take a few laps. We saw my personal best there, a 148 something during the race. This is just set as a practice session, exactly the same setup as the race was. See, car settings are going to be bought. We're on racing softs. Actually going to brake balance to the front, all the way to the front there, which seems to be the optimal for this car. Nothing else changes. Settings for me will be assist, traction control 1, default ABS, everything else off. I'm going to continue to run the TC. We've had this discussion a number of times over the past couple of months about whether TC affects you more or not. We'll start with TC. If I feel confident enough, I'll take the TC off and see if we can run that. Controller settings will be controller steering sensitivity 5. Feedback max to 6. Let's go out and see what we can do. Let's talk about it on the out lap and then see however many laps it takes me to get to a 5. It might be just down to fuel. We'll just have to see. Didn't actually capture the out lap. What we've got here is the out lap ended in a bit of a disaster with a bit of a spin off as we were trying to push it too hard, warming the tyres up. And then lap 2, again we had the same spin off. So this is the third lap on the same tank, same set of tyres, and we're trying to get the car to be roughly the same sort of position as it was in the race. Now as this lap runs through, let's just discuss a few things. A, this is not an exact comparison to a race versus race situation. I've not got the pressure of the race, I've not got people around me chasing me down, I've not got to think about overtaking people, I'm not thinking about strategy. All I'm thinking about here is improving my lap time, trying to get the low-hanging fruit. Those low-hanging fruits, as we discussed, were braking points, speed through the apex, line into the apex, line out of the apex, and then refining the speed through the corners. That's all I was trying to look at. I wasn't looking at any other factors like correct gearing. I was going with the gearing that I was naturally comfortable with, and I also weren't looking at effects like, you know, slipping, side slipping, turning the corner on the curbs. These are all advanced techniques that I don't think we need to really focus on at this point in time. All we're trying to do is match a qualifying lap, which is effectively what we're trying to do, against a lap time set in the race by the fastest lap. Now, the other factor against this is that we have to really consider that I'm not yet able to run these laps consistently enough to actually win a race. So this is trying to find the right lap time at the right time, and then we can work on that and build on it. So our first successful completed lap was a 1:46.944. We're just going to run through, and as you can see, this is going to be lap 6 we go on to as we finish lap 5. This is the first out lap, so fuel is comparable to half a tank and the tyres are fresh, so we're in a better situation than we were in the race. As we come round turn 1, we haven't got any comparison to see where we were, but we're just going to look at lines, and I'm already pushing out to the left, and I've made a really late entry there, cutting the car back to the apex in second gear, which isn't really where we're trying to achieve. As we're hurrying down to corner number 3, we come round 3, and we're trying to lay up left of the track. As we do so, diving deep into the corner again, probably too deep. First gear at the apex, second gear on the way out, which is similar to what Sam was trying to push. Then we're pushing over to the right hand side and braking later, trying to come back to the apex, which we marginally miss, I would suggest, and we run wider on the out. But we're up on our lap time, so we're looking at a 1:46.7 if we carry on the way we are. Now again, car on car comparison, the Mazda is not as quick as the 650S. The 650S seems to have a bit more poise and a bit more speed around the corners. It's turbocharged, so it's got a bit more boost. The Mazda doesn't, it's naturally aspirated. We come through the chicane really quite tidy, but little off on the 4th apex. Again, the speed looked to be about 104, 105. But we're again up on our time, so this should be good. Again, we're not going to have as much run through as Sam did on this lap, on his fastest lap, where he comes through to the line at 170. We're going to be somewhere short of that. Again, we didn't have the speed out the apex, but there we go, a 1:46.760, bang on time, bang on schedule. We're not actually showing you the optimal lap time at this moment in time. We will look to that later once we've got these laps down. We're within 0.2 of where we wanted to get, and we're only on to the 8th lap, so this isn't a particularly bad session. All it is a training session, folks. We're not actually saying I can be faster than the fastest guy in the race. This is about getting something to work on and building. We've already improved in our turn 2 complex there. As we came through there, we're much quicker out the corner. Where are we going to be? 0.242, almost a quarter of a second up, and that's just by applying that wider line and then the correct line out of the corner. Now we missed the apex there through that corner, but let's see how much that affects us as we get to the next timing point. Let's see if we can improve it through this corner. Timing gate is just up here. We've actually improved, we've increased on the time, so 0.375. So this could be on target for the 1:46.5 that we've set ourselves, which would be equal to the lap time that Sam sort of set. 0.377 up. Let's see if we can get this entry and turning correct before apex 2. Start to turn the car, that's the way before. We're probably wide on 3, we cut back to 4. Again, a little bit down on speed. Oh, we're going to be half a second up, so this could be in the 1:46.2 sort of region, which would be excellent. And that would show for the hour we've spent, it took 3 to 4 minutes to review the lap that Sam ran. It took 3 to 4 minutes to review the lap that I ran. We then compared the two together, and then we so far, there we go, a 1:46.2, 191, which is decent. And as you can see, we've then gone on to lap number 30. This is lap number 31. Our target is normally 84 laps, but we're not going to do a Goodwood here today. Let's see if we can just marginally improve on that again. And as you can see by the optimal at the bottom, a 1:45.598. If we can get into those 1:45s, that gives us a decent chance of being able to repeat a qualifying lap that could put us somewhere near to the grid, which would be absolutely excellent. And I appreciate this is somewhat behind the game, because this is after the fact. We're going to Barcelona next week in the in the league, and this is for the league, the race for last week, but I'm sure we'll be back here. We can apply whatever we learned today into any of the Grand Prix coming up and any track we apply it to. It's just about braking points, acceleration points, and our line through the corner. That's all we're really trying to discuss today. So here we go. What's the next timing point going to tell us? We're almost 0.2 up, 0.168, which would drop us just outside a 45. We got the car turned before Apex 2, that was brilliant. A real fine line through 4 and faster through Apex 4. There we go, we've gained time, 0.225. That'll put us inside the 145s. And I'm feeling quite good about that one. And there we have it, folks, that concludes the process. We're not as fast as Sam, we've improved our process and we're moving on. Round 5, we'll see you at Barcelona. All the best, folks. Thank you for listening, thank you for looking. We'll see you on the next one. Take care. I'd just like to say a massive thanks to Sam for allowing me to use his fastest lap as a comparison and to probably underplay his importance in the process and the speed he's got. I know he's tremendously fast and he's tremendously good at what he does, and I really appreciate him being part of the league. So thank you very much, and I hope we can learn a lot from you, Sam. Thanks for joining us.